It's your final week to get a very good and very unique fusion rifle, the Adept Plug One. Last season, I would have told you the Adept Plug One was one of the best fusions, if not the best fusion in the game. It had Successful Warmup added to the perk pool, and it was already a super solid fusion. But things have changed now that the different fusion archetypes have been adjusted this season, and we've been introduced to things like the Adept Burden of Guilt and a craftable Epicurean with enhanced perks. I'll get to the Epicurean in another video. Be sure to sub to the channel to get the information on that one. Trust me, you will want that info. But I had to get to the Plug One first since there are a few things you really need to look out for, and it's potentially your last week to ever acquire one. So let's break this down into what you probably already know, what you may not know, there's a sleeper perk in there, wait for it, and my final two recommendations for where this fusion rifle falls. Okay, the basics. It already has a fantastic recoil direction of 75, and it's a precision frame, which means the recoil tends to be more vertical anyways. So if you make any adjustments to the recoil direction, I would go for something like extended barrel or chambered compensator that adjusted just a little bit instead of going all out with arrowhead brake. It's just kind of overkill for this one, and I personally would rather have the extra range or stability. What you don't want to do is end up with a charge time masterwork version or accelerated coils unless you're going for something very specific. The highlight of precision frames is that they kill in 5 bolts no matter the resilience. If you change that even the slightest bit, it will take 6 bolts to kill over 8 resil, and I don't know about you, but I've noticed a lot of Guardians running high resil this season. So don't mess with one of the primary things that makes precision fusion rifles feel so solid. Go for more range or stability with your battery and masterworks. If you keep up with my videos, you probably already know that for the basics, I'm going to be pushing for the range stat on this fusion. I have Adept rolls with more stability and they feel fine too, but I still noticed more of an improvement with my aim assist connecting when I had a higher range stat, so I'm going to suggest that right off the bat. For the perk pool, you already know Under Pressure and Successful Warmup are going to be great go-to perks. Under Pressure helps keep your accuracy cone tight so your bolts connect really well, so that is a given you already know. And by now everyone's pretty familiar with Successful Warmup too. I would say it's probably the most beneficial on precision frames now since you're not giving up anything by not having high impact reserves. On other archetypes, high impact reserves would really help here in this slot, but you don't need it as much on precision frames because you're 5 bolting no matter the resil. A quick note on Successful Warmup, you can stack your charge time stuff, accelerated coils, charge time masterwork, adept charge time, and Successful Warmup to give you a TTK of only 0.59 seconds. I did get this roll and tested it, and it's super fast, it's really fast, but as I mentioned, I don't recommend stacking anything more than the Adept Charge Time mod because anything more will take away your 5 bolt kill at those higher resiliences. This is something that makes the Plug One unique over the new Adept Burden of Guilt, which with Successful Warmup and not high impact reserves will require that 6 bolts to kill at high resilience levels. Okay, now on to what you may not know. First, some things that go with Successful Warmup. Killing Wind and Heating Up. I personally hear more people talking about Heating Up, and if you get that combo, that's great. Heating Up is good. But I'm telling you, Killing Wind is where it's at. I'm going to briefly compare the two because they both happen after a final blow and help you connect your next shots, but they do it in different ways. So Heating Up will give you 15 stability, 20 recoil direction, and tighten your accuracy cone, kind of like Under Pressure, but not quite as strong. That's good and all, but Killing Wind gives you plus 20 range, plus 50 mobility, plus 40 handling, a minus 30% ADS movement penalty, and a 1.5 times damage fall off distance multiplier. So TDLR, think of this like rangefinder on crack with sprinkles on top. It is such an underrated perk. So those things are great to pair with Successful Warmup, but there is another perk I really want you to look out for that you may not be thinking about. Out of the 20 to 30 Plug Ones that I've had drop for me, Adept or non-Adept, I have not got this perk once. Kickstart. Kickstart gives you a plus 100 millisecond charge time when you slide, and instead of hurting your damage, it increases it by 20%. Excuse me? Cornered, which is activated when you're near 2 enemies or more, only gives you the 100 millisecond charge time increase. And you have to be in a pretty rough spot to even activate it. With Kickstart, you get that same charge time increase for just sliding, and you get a 20% damage boost on top of that. Last season, I was actually breaking the damage range cap on fusions by using Kickstart on a high impact fusion and combining it with another player buff, That's pretty niche, but on a precision frame, you can use that 20% damage buff to mitigate any of those charge time damage decreases I told you about at the beginning of the video. Yes, you can stack a charge time masterwork with accelerated coils, with an Adept charge time mod, with the 100 millisecond increase from Kickstart, and still kill at 10 resil with only 5 bolts, because your damage was also increased by the 20% from Kickstart. This brings your time to kill to 0.75 seconds, faster than a rapid fire frame, and all you had to do was slide, which for most of you is just playing as normal. This is insanity. Even if you don't have all that charge time stuff, you can still use the Kickstart perk to buff yourself 20% and kill in only 4 bolts up to 6 resilience. That is some hefty consistency. So on to my suggestions. The roles I'm going to be looking out for personally are a Killing Wind Successful Warmup Plug 1, which I do already have, but I didn't get it without charge time stuff messing with the bolts to kill, so I'm going to keep looking for more of these. It's just a solid double kill machine. And secondly, a Kickstart Plug 1, just any of them, give them to me. Preferably one with charge time options and maybe one with under pressure, or maybe both, I don't care. I just would like the Kickstart perk on a Plug 1. Very last suggestion, don't knock it till you try it. Put on the Adept targeting mod. I haven't had a single person try it and say they didn't like it. It sounds crazy because it tanks your stability, but I'm serious, it makes a world of difference on some fusion rifles. I've had at least 10 people tweet or comment saying they put it on and it's their favorite mod ever now. It won't work for everything, it won't work for everyone, but it works really great on this Plug 1 and the Adept Burden of Guilt. I hope this was helpful as you enter your last week to grind for the Adept Plug 1. Be sure to sub and join me later this week as I talk about how I crafted my Epicurean and how it may be my new favorite fusion rifle. Until next time, GG.